Welcome to Series 3 of Sensitive Changemakers, the podcast for ambitious HSPs and introverts. So if you're a sensitive, introverted coach, therapist, creative, or service provider with big dreams, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Kate Carter, a fellow HSP and introvert who understands the unique challenges and incredible strengths we bring to the table. In this space, I'm here to help you embrace your sensitivity, release the anxiety and self-doubt that may be holding you back, and build the confidence to create success on your terms. If you're ready to step into your quiet power, align your business with your true self, and live a life of intention, purpose, and authenticity, then this is for you. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to Sensitive Changemakers. I hope this episode finds you well. So this is an impromptu episode. It's going to be quite an honest and vulnerable one, and it is based on just things that I've been noticing in the online space and also the conversations that I've been having with prospective clients and new clients. And I haven't really got an agenda or notes, so bear with me as we go through this. But the first thing I really want to say is about owning who you are as a service-based provider. And what I mean by this is I know that I've been speaking to some incredible women over the last few weeks, new prospective clients and new clients. And it's been really humbling for me to see just the expertise that is in the online space, like genuinely just amazing expertise, but also how heartbreaking it is to hear these women who have like so many different qualifications, have written books, have been on stage, have just produced so many amazing different things, who are frustrated in their business. And I think this is really nuanced. I think there's a lot of reasons for this. And I think one of them is the noise in the online space. You know, we are highly sensitives, we are introverts, we're going to take on board what people are saying in the online space, and we're going to assume it's true. Let's just put that out there. I think we do that as highly sensitives. We do have a tendency to think that other people have the answers and therefore we do not. And I think what we can shift that to seeing is that yes, other people have found their way, but also we can find our way. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be they found their way, therefore I can't. It can be both. And I think that's just something to remember. The other thing to remember, really interesting conversation I had, is remembering that just because you have been in group programs, mostly group programs, that's the conversations I've been having with people, and you asked the questions, you diligently followed everything you were being told to do, you showed up like you were supposed to do, like you did all of the things, and you didn't feel that you got what you needed to from that container, it doesn't mean that you're wrong or that you're missing a secret or that you are somehow not going to make this work or it's not cut out for you. It absolutely, I find with especially big group programs, so this is not throwing shade on group programs because I've been in a couple myself, and I was quite lucky. I feel like I've been really lucky with how I've invested my money in my business to actually had coaches and experiences where it was really clear that they cared about me and they checked in on me. And unfortunately, I know that's not the case for everybody. And I know that people are having experiences where they're putting their, like I said, that time and that energy, they're showing up, they're doing what they're being, they're doing what they're told almost, and they're not seeing what they expect to see in terms of results on the other side. And then they're leaving that container thinking, wow, it must be me. It must be me. I'm not, insert whatever thought comes from that. I'm not good enough. It's not going to work out for me. I'm not cut out for this, etc. And actually what I really find to be true, especially for highly sensitives and introverts, is that we require so much more deeper understanding. Like we are not surface level people. it might be okay for somebody else to go, right, here's, I don't know, for example, here's a script for a DM messaging, or here's a script for a sales page. Go and just adapt this and you'll be fine. That to me is quite surface level. What most of us need that I've spoken to is so much more time, energy, understanding, depth, detail, that some of these bigger group programs just aren't, they're just not accommodating for that. They haven't got the knowledge or the know-how to support that kind of depth and detail. Um, and for most of those people, what I've been discovering speaking to the people who've been here is that, you know, I know what I needed now was actually one-on-one support. I needed somebody who was just there for me. And that's what I've always found. Like I always wanted to say, like, to start my business, I felt like really I can't think of the right word. Childish comes to mind, but it's not the right word. Maybe I'll think of the right word later. But I'll use childish at the moment. I felt quite childish. It's like, no, I want a one-on-one. I want a coach who is going to listen to me and be there and co-create this with me. I don't want to be one of many. And so that was just something from the outset for me. And I think a lot of highly sensitives and introverts are coming to that way of thinking, like, no, I need the detail. I need to understand. If I ask a question, I don't want a surface level answer. I want something that's going to go deeper. I want something that is going to help me to understand why that's important. I feel that why is a huge kind of must for us. And sometimes it can be amazing, and sometimes it can get us caught into like rabbit hole traps. But I do think that just allowing us to be able to find out the why sometimes can really support us. Like, if you're just going to tell me to do something, but you're not going to tell me why, I'm not going to be wholly convinced. I'm not going to be able to completely get on board with that. And I'm probably going to get frustrated. So actually supporting somebody through that. So that's one of my kind of insights that I've had over the last few weeks, is just making sure that as a highly sensitive person, an introvert, and it doesn't have to be me that you go to help for. There are amazing coaches out there, but really finding a coach who will take the time to listen to you, will take the time to understand where you're coming from, to take the time to meet you where you're at. I think that's so incredibly important for us as highly sensitive and introverts. So full permission to go and find that. And the other insight that I've had based on that is, as a result, people are, and I don't think this comes in any surprise, people are being so much more cautious with where they're putting their money. You know, yes, the economy is what it is at the moment, but also a lot of people have been burnt. A lot of people, especially coaching, and I feel like this was my own, just to go really personal here, this was my own journey with coaching. Now, I love coaching. It really did change my life. You know, going from having a panic disorder, having panic attacks, to not having that anymore, that was down to coaching. That was down to having somebody one-on-one who could support me in seeing my strengths and the fact that I could do this. And that's a beautiful thing for me for coaching. The true form of coaching is for me as a coach now to empower others to see that they have everything they need inside them. They just might need the right kind of question or the right kind of mirror. And what I mean by that is mirroring something back to somebody so they can see, oh my God, I've never seen it like that. Like, that for me is true gold. And I loved coaching, and that's why I trained as a coach. I got my certifications in coaching. I love it. But I do think there are other people out there, unfortunately, although I say I don't feel like there is that many anymore. Over the last couple of weeks, I've had some just very strange experience with people online where I'm like, well, that's not what you told me you wanted. And very sneaky kind of marketing. Anyway, that's for another time. What I do am finding, hopefully, is that there are less people in the online space like this now, but there are still those that are really sneaky, and they're saying they're coaches, but they're not. They're not coaches. They're just selling to you, or they're just teaching you, or they're just a consultant. You know, there's nothing wrong with being a consultant or a salesperson or, you know, a teacher. None of that is wrong, but be clear that that is what you are doing. And I think from the conversations I've been having, I find it really frustrating that there are so many different people out there who are amazing at marketing, but not necessarily good at following up the substance and the kind of detail to back that up. And that's a really unfortunate part of being in this online space. And I know for me, that made me wobble. Last year, 2022, 2023, that's why I pulled back. That's why I went, right, do you know what? I'm just going to go and do mindset. Just going to support people with anxiety and kind of the energy and the mindset around that, because I didn't want to call myself a coach anymore. That's how much it affected me. I was like, it makes me feel like I'm in a sleazy, icky kind of environment, and that's not what I signed up for. And so taking that time away and actually and kind of just thinking things through again has really supported me. And I do feel like I've come back more grounded and more secure, and just really kind of taken things in a different way. So whereas things in the online space used to really affect me, now I find that it's easier to switch things off and to kind of go, no, Kate, that's just an example of who you're not. You don't have to be like them. You don't have to do it that way. You get to do it your way. And so I hope that's normalizing for you to hear as well, that yes, there are going to be people in the online space that are probably in your industry as well, that really you do feel like you're giving us a bad name and we don't deserve that. And actually knowing that that is just an example of who you don't want to be, which is powerful in itself. Like, that is definitely not what I want to be. I do not want to be like that person. I do not want to teach that way. I don't want to sell that way, or I don't want to coach that way. Whatever your industry is, I want to do it like this. This is what's important for me, and use it as an example to come back to you and how you want to do things. I think that's been something that's been really important over the last few months, I'd say, just really getting grounded in you. And that's why I talk about coming back to you, coming back to your truth, coming back to your groundedness. Because if you don't have that, and you don't need to be like a robot. I've heard so many people go, I wish I was just a robot. We don't need to be robots. We do need to be grounded in who we are. And that doesn't necessarily mean we have to have it all figured out, but grounded in those values, grounded in those priorities that make us who we are, and then not being a robot, but being able to get to neutral. So like I was saying today in the Facebook group, we have ebbs and flows in business. We are going to have highs and lows. There are going to be times where we're like, this is amazing, this is fantastic, everything feels like it's clicking into place. And then we're going to have lows where we think, oh, I feel like I've lost momentum, or I'm not getting the clients that I wanted to, or things don't feel like whatever, whatever's issue you feel like you're having, you're going to have those ebbs and flows. And I think half the mindset work sometimes when we're in that kind of highs and lows, or the ebbs and flows, is actually how do we get to neutral? How do we get to neutral? And for a lot of highly sensitive and introverts, that is working on your nervous system. That's working on regulating your nervous system. And the ways to do that I have found absolutely vital over the last 5 years is taking small steps. I cannot stress the importance of taking small steps for highly sensitive and introverts. We don't need to take big leaps, because what often happens, and I'd argue this happens to the majority of people, but especially for us as highly sensitive, is we take that huge jump, and then our brain, our subconscious, our body, it goes, whoa, what have you done? This is so far removed from our current reality. This is too scary. Go back, please. Go back to what we were doing before, because that felt safe. Even if what we were doing before made us really miserable, our body and our brain doesn't care. It just wants safety. So it's going to do whatever it can to sabotage you, to take you back to safety. And so actually the way that you can override that as a highly sensitive person, as an introvert, so you're always moving yourself and your business forward, is how can I take a small step here? How can I take a small step, normalize it, habitualize it, bring it into my daily routine? So my brain and body goes, oh, okay, this is all right. Yeah, this isn't too scary. And then we add another step, and we normalize that when we bring it into our routine, and our body and our brain gets on board, and then you take the next one. And so you're fooling, in effect, you're fooling your subconscious, you're fooling your body into going, this is normal. This is just what we're doing. We're just doing these gradual little steps over time, nothing too scary. And then all of a sudden you look back over time, you think, oh my God, what a journey I've been on, or what a change I've made. And I didn't realize what bigger change I'd make just by taking those small steps. So I hope that helps, because I think for a lot of us, it's sexy, isn't it, in marketing to see these big changes. I know when I first started, it was like being able to, I don't know, run your business from a beach on Bali. There was loads of beaches when I first started working in the online space in 2020. Well, 2018 actually, when I first started with the idea of business. There's loads of people on beaches. You can work from where you want. And for some people, that's really important to them. Absolutely. But for some of us, it it just isn't. Maybe it'd be a nice to have, or it'd be, nice to go on holidays, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's what we want our daily life to look like. And so I think there's a couple of things there really important. Normalizing what success looks like to you, and also knowing that you don't have to make these huge jumps, these huge leaps in order to be successful. Those small steps over time will compound into a big change, into a big shift, but in a way where you're able to regulate your nervous system at the same time. And I think that's really crucial for us as highly sensitives. So these are just a few insights I've seen over the last few weeks. And I think I'm going to come right back full circle to what I said at the start about owning your gifts and your strengths. And I think as highly sensitives, this is one of the areas where we want to pull back and we want to say, oh, but there are other people that do that. Of course. Of course, there are always going to be people that do things better than you. There are always going to be people that do things just as good as you. But that doesn't negate you and what you can offer. And I think some of us, again, we have that all or nothing. We think, well, because there are other people who are better, or because there are other people who can do this just as well, that means I'm not needed. That means, insert whatever self-limiting belief comes up there. We think it's all or nothing, and it doesn't have to be that way. It can be both. It can be, really celebrating other people who are doing really well and knowing that you can do that too. Instead of using it as evidence against your success, use that evidence for your success. They're doing it really, really well. And I know I can too. So owning your services, this is something that has really come into me. Again, really honest, vulnerable. I had a conversation with a lady last week who said our first session was one of the best sessions she'd ever had. And it came to me, obviously, I'm quite self-critical. I'm always striving to do better. I'm always looking at ways that I can improve. And I like that about myself. I like that I'm constantly learning and constantly growing. I think that's a really important part of who I am and what makes me up, what makes me up as a person. But I also know sometimes I forget to celebrate what I can do, how I can help people. And I do forget to own my strengths and my abilities, because I'm always thinking, oh, how can I extend my knowledge, or how can I learn more? And I think, one without the other can be a pit to fall into, can't it? And again, using me as an example here, and please take this through for you, really kind of just finding your middle ground. Yes, absolutely. Always being open to learn, always being open to grow is a fantastic thing. But remember to celebrate what you can already do, and how, for a lot of people, that will be life-changing for them. That will be something that they will be so grateful that they found, and you're not allowing yourself to see that in you, if that makes sense. So really just allowing yourself to have those two things, owning who you are. It doesn't have to be in an arrogant, overly loud way. I have a small wins book that I write every tiny little thing. I'm going to get it for you. So I'm just going to read a few things out. So my tiny little wins book. So when I first started the Sensitive Changer Makers Circle, which is our kind of free networking event, I had 4 people sign up within 24 hours. Now, for that was a really, I'd say it was quite a big win for me, but it was a win. I wrote it down. Another win for me, feeling grounded in knowing where I'm heading and what I want my business to look like. That was last year. That was a really big one for me. This one for my podcast, which was a really surprising one. I still don't know quite how it worked out, but I had 115 downloads in 7 days, which is my highest downloads that I've ever had in that short a space of time, which was amazing. Again, celebrated that. Now, for other people, their podcast might be thousands of downloads, but for me, 115 downloads in a week was amazing in 7 days. So I hope you see, those are my small wins, and they enable me to remember what I'm doing well. And I would really encourage you to do the same, because I think as highly sensitive and an introvert, We really do want to do a fantastic job. We really do want to be there for people and support people. But we often do that to the detriment of what we can already do. And I think, again, I think we can have both. Like I've been saying throughout this whole episode, it doesn't have to be one or the other. We don't have to be always being open to growth and not celebrating where we are now. We can have both. We can be open to moving forward, open to growing, open to learning, and still celebrate what an amazing place we're in right now, whether that be really celebrating our strengths or our abilities or just what's going well right now. We can have both. So I'm hoping that's really normalizing. Those are just a couple of the insights that I found over the last few weeks, having some amazing conversations with just some awesome women. And I really just wanted to share that with you because I think not enough people are talking about what's really going on. I think add the extra layer of being highly sensitive and introverted, and sometimes we feel like we're on our own, that it's really tough, that nobody's going to listen to us or to really find the gold in us. And I would just like to take this as a reminder to say, you are amazing. I know people who listen to this podcast individually, and I know there are some people that I don't know yet. If that's you, please do reach out. Please do say hello. I love hearing from you. But just remember that you are awesome just as you are. Like just you being here on this planet right now, you are incredible. And I know that you have some amazing strengths and some amazing abilities and some just fantastic insights that you have in whatever business you're running that really support people right now. And yes, you can still learn and you can grow, but I know that you have things right now that you can use to support people and to help people. So if you take nothing else from this episode, please take that. I am quickly just going to round up a couple of things that are happening over the next few months. So if you're interested, again, do reach out. I'll put the links in the show notes as well. But first of all, we are going to run another free networking event at the end of November, early December. So if you're listening to this before then, I'll put the link in the show notes. It's completely free. It's just a really lovely opportunity to speak to like-minded people. It's not a traditional networking event. We don't have a guest speaker. It is just an opportunity to go deep very, very quickly. It's very honest. It's very, I would say vulnerable, but in a comforting, lovely way. Like obviously share what you feel comfortable sharing, but it is a very honest view at what's going on right now, what's worked for us, what's not worked for us, what insights have we had, what insights have supported other people, all of those things. So it really is quite an honest conversation. So if you're interested in that, please do come and join us. It was such a lovely, lovely event to run last October. I am looking at making it a paid subscription in the new year. But as I said, the November, December one is completely free. So if you're interested, come and now have a look, have a listen, take part. And then the other thing is I have one more one-on-one spot open for November for my 6-month package, Release and Rise. So if that feels like something you need support with, like you really do want somebody who is in your corner, who is absolutely dedicated to you, to listening to you, to understanding where you're at, to guiding you and supporting you in coaching and mentoring in how to take those next steps in your business, please do book in a consultation call. If you're not quite ready for the consultation call and you just want to ask some questions, please do so. I'm really approachable and very, very honest. And I'm going to say this, I know a lot of people don't. I am not the most expensive coach out there. My packages are 2,496 for 6 months. So they're not the most expensive, they're not the cheapest, but I really do. I was thinking about this the other day. I really do love my pricing, which is something that I never used to. I really, really struggled with pricing for a very long time. But I love my pricing because I know it's enough for me. And it's, I think, at a place where I can meet my ideal client where they're at. And it feels like a stretch, but it's not out of the realms of possibility. So if that feels an alignment for you, please do get in touch. And I would love, love, love to talk to you. I'm going to send you so much love. I hope this episode has made sense. And I hope it's been really normalizing and permission giving for you. That was my aim anyway. Okay, I'll be back next week, guys. Sending you so much love. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. If you have any takeaways or any questions, please do reach out to me either through Instagram, LinkedIn or Facebook at Kate Carter Coaching, or you can email me at kate@katecarter.co.uk. I always love to hear your feedback and the things that you have taken from the podcast. If you know of any other highly sensitive people, then please do share this so that I can reach more and support more highly sensitive people to embrace their strengths and gifts. As a thank you, I will pick a winner every month for a free 50-minute coaching session with me. Thank you so much.